What's going on, everybody? It's GAMEUNBOXINGREVIEWS here, and welcome back to another Power Rangers Battle for the Grid news update. So recently, nWay revealed a lot more interesting details about the game to PlayStation and comicbook.com, as well as some actual gameplay. So I'm of course going to be showcasing and talking about all of that in today's video. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so first off, let's talk about the game story. Now, we still don't really know anything specific, but recently, during an interview with PlayStation, Vice President of Creative at nWay, Steve Kuroki, revealed that the game will feature an original story that will actually be written by the makers of the Shattered Grid Power Rangers comic series, which, if you don't know, is extremely exciting news because the Shattered Grid series had some of the best-selling comics last year, so you just know that the game's storyline is in great hands. Now, like I've been saying in all of my previous news updates, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid is absolutely not a port of Power Rangers Legacy Wars, and was never intended to be as such, so it will not feature built-in character progression as seen in that game. Instead, each match will be fair in terms of a character's skills and abilities. So as well as the story mode, at launch the game will also feature couch co-op and online ranked matches, which allow you to compete against the best players in the world and compete on the leaderboard and see as they rise and fall within the ranks. There's also casual matches where you can play against anyone that wants to jump into that player pool, and of course we can't forget about crossplay, which is actually accessed through nWay Play, where you can direct matches with your friends that are also using that platform and just go fight. However, right now this feature is only exclusive to the Xbox One, Nintendo Switch and PC versions of the game, but nWay are hoping to add cross-play functionality to PS4 later down the line. Now, as well as this, there will also be a practice mode, a tutorial which teaches you how to play the game, and a training mode where you can play against the computer in different forms of difficulty, and even tune variables to modify your training experience. Now, personally, I would love to see these features set in an Angel Grove Youth Center stage, as well as that location also, of course, being a stage that we can choose in actual matches. Now that would be awesome. And speaking of stages, nWay recently revealed that the stages within the game will be animated with VFX and high-res fidelity, and will actually be based around a lot of the environments that are told within the game's main story. Now right now, while you won't be able to kick your opponent into another stage like you see in games like Injustice, nWay haven't ruled out the possibility of adding that kind of functionality in later release stages for this game. Now then, on to the moment that you've all been waiting for, which is of course the gameplay. So nWay have been working in Unity on this engine for over 6 years, but the actual game has only been in development for over a year. However, they have a lot of experienced developers with a background on fighting games on their team, and like I've been saying in previous videos, they've also brought on board Justin Wong, who is of course a professional fighting game player that is helping tune the game by making sure that it stands on par with other popular fighting games. Now, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid will feature controls that are similar to traditional fighters such as Dragon Ball FighterZ, with its 3v3 team-based combat on a 2D plane. So you're in full control of everyone on your team, which means that you can bring one of your team members in to do an assist attack on an opponent, or do a full-on swap and take complete control of another character that is on your team. Now for combat, nWay wanted to build a combat system that allowed casual players to be able to just pick up a controller and mash on one button repeatedly to do a really easy combo, but at the same time they also realized that isn't exactly very in-depth for professional fighting game players. So instead, Battle for the Grid will feature a freeform combat system which allows you to create your very own combo moves. So for example, you can launch your opponent into the air and then follow up with some air attacks and special moves to extend that combo. There are also grab attacks which are said to be awesome, as you can throw your opponent into or against a wall or even behind your back, which I've got to say sounds like it will be a lot of fun to pull off in this game. There are also of course defense mechanics, so if you want to defend, just hold back with a standing guard or a low guard, but obviously your opponent should be able to find some way to stop you from continuously blocking, so they can either jump over you, bring in an assist attack, or just grab you and throw you into the nearest wall. Now, one thing that I'm sure we all want to see in this game is that each character looks, acts, and plays exactly how you would expect them to, especially if you're familiar with their appearance in a particular piece of Power Rangers media. Well, luckily, nWay have given each character's animations a lot of tender love and care to make sure that they stay authentic to the source material. So for instance, at the end of a combo string or a special attack, characters can strike a pose that will be a reference to how their personality is portrayed in that specific series. And we've already seen a glimpse of this with the intro and outro animations as seen in the game's trailers, which look really cool. Now while the game looks like a lot of fun, I'm sure I wasn't the only one who thought that it also appeared to be lagging with slow hit stops. And while all footage for the game already specifically stated that the gameplay captured is just in pre-alpha stage, nWay have announced that their team appreciate the concern and will continue to review the game and work towards delivering the best possible product. So any concerns that we may have right now will hopefully be ironed out by launch. Now this is obviously a game that is based on a franchise with over 25 years of history, and counting of course, with Beast Morphers debuting this year. So it's no surprise to hear that nWay have said that they want this game to have a long life. So they will be regularly releasing more content, such as new characters, but also stories to play through in the game's arcade mode. The first of which will be included in the first season pass and is separate from the game's main story. They also plan to add a host of special events, missions, and online tournaments. Lastly, before I wrap up this video, I think it's very important to point out that at the end of the extended announcement trailer and the gameplay reveal trailer, it now says that the game will be arriving in spring of 2019, unlike in the original version of the announcement trailer where it specifically stated that the game will be releasing in April of this year. So this could potentially mean that the game has been delayed, which personally I'm completely fine about, as I'd rather that nWay were given as much time as they need to get the final build of the game up to a standard that they are happy to release to the public. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. Now I think I've covered everything that we know so far, but two other things that I want to mention are that the digital version of the PlayStation 4 version of the game is now available to pre-order from the PlayStation Store. And Chris Peralta, who is the community development and social media strategist at nWay, has confirmed that the game will feature trophies on PS4. So I would assume that would mean that the Xbox and Steam version of the game will also feature achievements. But of course, we will just have to wait and see. Anyway guys, I want to thank you all very much for watching. If you'd like to stay up to date with all things Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, then please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.